Last season, Chelsea's manager asked the club for just one new centre-back, and they told him no. This summer, Alonso asked for 6 players and got all 6. And one of them fixes nothing at all. He got the most expensive British footballer that has ever lived, and a 36-year-old on a free. From a club that signed 57 players, spent 1.7 billion and finished 10th last season. And this is the first window where the manager actually gets to choose. So let's see what he chose to fix and why. Going back to that Colwill injury because it set the tone for the entire season. So he tore his ACL in pre-season training. The man who had driven the top 4 charge helped us win the Conference League final and the Club World Cup final. He was key to Enzo Maresca's build-up from the back, and then the manager asked for a replacement once he got injured. The club didn't sign one, said there's not enough opportunities on the market, you've got to work with what you've got. And then the injuries didn't stop coming. Chelsea actually finished 4th worst in the league for games missed. There were 245 games cumulatively missed from Colwill, the likes of Reece James, the likes of Lavia, likes of Asugo, Gittins, etc, etc. We finished 10th. We finished 10th with more red cards than anyone else in the league as well. There were 7 in the Premier League, 9 in all competitions, and 4 different men in charge across just one season. So there are 3 problems that Alonso walked into, and we're ticking off all 3 with why Xabi Alonso has decided to sign these players in particular. So one was not enough cover. We saw with Levi Colwill that we didn't have the right options when we needed it. Squad was stretched, and in other positions as well, we didn't have enough cover. 2, we've had this problem for years now. We had nothing against a low block, and it is the easiest way to defend against an attacking team like Chelsea. But we really struggled against teams really sitting deep against us last season again. 3, the big one, we had no one senior when it got hard, when we needed an experienced voice just to calm the team down. We had the youngest squad in the division, and it cost a lot more than you'd think. So box 1 first, and it's the exact player we refused to sign last year. Maxence Lacroix cost £52 million, and he's a centre-back. It's the exact position that Maresca was told we would not be signing because he had to work with Benoit Badiashile and Axel Disasi for another season. Sometimes I don't blame Maresca for leaving, although I'm praying on his downfall at City. But Lacroix isn't quite the signing that some people think he is. He's not quite a ball-playing centre-back that's going to progress from deep, ping long balls in and beat loads of men in the press. He's a duels and recovery pace centre-back. He's a true athlete, and getting on later, he is a leader as well. The numbers from last season are really serious. 204 duels won at 61%, 119 aerials also at 61%, across 35 games and 3,000 minutes for Palace. Availability is the best ability, as they say, and yeah, he was an ever-present in the Palace team that did win a few trophies over the last couple of years. But a cover problem is more than just one signing, and this is the bit I really like. It's what all 6 players have in common that Xabi Alonso has hand-picked, requested the sporting directors to sign for his team. It's that every single one of them can do more than just one job. Lacroix can be a right-sided centre-back in a back 4. He works in a back 3 in the centre, or right centre-back in a back 3 as well. Looking forward, we're going to look at Palestra, Chavarría. They all cover multiple positions in the full-back, wing-back area. Not to mention Morgan Rogers is such a versatile attacker. He has so many qualities that are just really great to have in a Premier League team. Jordan Henderson even can play anywhere in the midfield. It's crazy to say because we've signed so many players and spent us so much money, but we've identified this as a problem, a depth crisis, and we've signed 6 specialists which can play across different positions. Welbeck was the other one. He's an out-and-out striker, but I guess he could drop in a bit deeper. What I'm saying is, I think the new players can play multiple positions, and it also allows other players, like João Pedro can play anywhere across the front line. Palmer can play in a few different roles. It's how Alonso gets multiple different shapes out of just one squad. With the same 11, you could have a back 3, a back 4, in possession, out of possession, wing backs, full backs, Rogers wide or inside. There's so many options. Now the case against Lacroix is real. Building from the back isn't the strongest part of his game. It's probably the weakest actually. And playing out short is Alonso's emphasis. So Chelsea have spent a lot of money on someone who isn't actually elite with what the system actually demands. It's not great when you look at it like that, but my answer is he wasn't really signed for that. He was signed for the availability, the non-injury stuff, the leadership stuff and physicality. And the fact passing on the ball, picking the right passes is coachable. Like Xabi Alonso was one of the best passers of all time. And literally at Leverkusen, every one of Alonso's back line got better on the ball under him. So the thing that Maresca asked for, he didn't get. and what Alonso asked for, the same thing. And now multiple positions are covered. So that is box one, helping with the cover and the different options and strength and depth, basically. Even though we don't have Europe this season, and it's not even as much of a necessity as last season. Box two, though, is something that's haunted this club for years, and we just spent the British record trying to fix it. Chelsea opened last season with a 0-0 at home to Crystal Palace, and it kind of set the story for the whole season in a way. We had all the ball, there was just no way through. That became the template for the entire campaign, really. We played well one game, and then the next game, once the opposition go into a low block, we just struggle. And that's the blueprint for getting points against Chelsea. Against proactive teams that were pressing high, we were inviting the pressure and build up flourish. We knocked the ball around really nicely sometimes, but against deep compact defences, it's where it just gets predictable. And I think Maresca's football was just getting stale, just predictable. You can see in the numbers, the more possession we had, the fewer chances we got. And part of the reason was that Maresca never had the right players for it. So Chelsea have gone and spent £117 million on a player that could really help that. And that's Morgan Rogers from Aston Villa, the British transfer record. It's more than Enzo, Caicedo, more than anyone this club has ever paid for. He can play wide as a left winger. He was playing right wing for England against Argentina, where he got an assist at the World Cup. But his best work is inside in the half space, in the left half space, more centrally on the pitch, where he can get the ball from deep, drive with it, pick the right pass, shoot from distance. He's just so good at beating a man in tight areas. What? The output backs it up without it being spectacular. Last season at Villa, he got 10 goals, 6 assists in 37 games. Nothing insane. 0.36 non-penalty XG per 90. And I'll be honest, £117 million is a lot. But he's the right profile, he fixes the right problem, and I think Xabi will only get the best out of him. We've seen, everyone said it before, what Alonso was able to do with Florian Wirtz in Germany at Bayer Leverkusen. But playing Rogers on the inside creates a problem of its own. If your best attacker lives in the attacking half space, who's actually giving you the width around him? The answer costs £16 million, and it does the same job as the £47 million one that we also signed for Xabi, that Xabi requested. That's Pep Chavarría from Rayo Vallecano, £16 million. A straight replacement for Cucurella, really. A decent defender, good going forward, but most importantly, he has an engine to just run all day, every day. I want to be honest, last season, the fullbacks weren't a problem at all, really. Reece James was the best in the world. Cucurella, obviously amazing. It's not quite a repair from Xabi. It's Alonso wanting to do something different to what Maresca and Rosinia were building. Losing Cucurella as well means you've got to replace him. But it does mean you can pick who you want to come in instead. He's apparently a big fan of Pep Chavarría, who he played against when he was a Real Madrid manager, and was really impressed with how he was dealing. He must have been dealing with, I don't know, Rodrigo, maybe Ardagula on the right-hand side, Rayo's left-hand side, but then was able to go forward. So he's literally picked this guy out and said to sport directors, I want this guy. He shouldn't be too expensive. Don't pay too much for him, but I want this guy. And yeah, new signings, Marco Palestra and Pep Chavarría are both wide fullbacks with enormous engines. They'll go up and down the touchline all game. They'll overlap but also recover quickly. And that suggests what Xabi Alonso has in mind for his fullbacks next season. The asymmetry isn't about quality, it's about jobs. It's a specific runner on each flank. Now, they won't always play on the pitch at the same time and do the same job, but they could do the same job, if you get what I'm saying. We have a lot of options, but Chelsea haven't actually got that many genuine wide wingers. Rogers isn't as wide as Gittins, maybe naturally. Esteval sees himself as centrally long-term. Kendra and Neto are great right wingers on their day, wide wingers that can beat a man. But they're not only wingers, they can do other stuff. We've seen Neto as false nine. Kenda can, I'm sure he could play more, not really a pure touchline merchant like Garnacho, even though he wasn't even really good at that. It tells you what Alonso wants, not traditional inverted wingers cutting inside on their right foot on the left or left foot on the right. The Arsenal model, basically. Chelsea could have signed those profiles, but we didn't. So, all that to say, if you want your attacker, your Rogers, your Park to come narrow, to drop in and just support in the final third in the half spaces with the striker, the width has to come from the fullback every time. I think we'll see a lot of Chavarría and Rodgers on that left-hand side, and maybe Palestra or Neto and Palmer on the right-hand side. So that's why the engine matters more than the ability actually does. Maybe Pep has a high or a lower ceiling than an Esteval or Kender, I guess, as a player. That those guys could literally become world beaters. Pep's 28 years old. But if you can provide width, get back to make it back as a back four when we're out of possession, running and repeating a lot of the time. Marcos Alonso and Victor Moses, like, they had low ceilings, but they were just perfect system players for Antonio Conte, three at the back as wing backs, and we all know what happened. We won the league that season. It's also why Lacroix's recovery pace suddenly matters so much as well. If both fullbacks are that high, then someone has to cover the grass behind them. And Chavarría's numbers back up the job he did last season across the whole La Liga season. 33 games, 2,681 minutes, 1.75 tackles and 1.07 interceptions per 90, so we got stuck in. 11 clean sheets. Rayo reached a Conference League final, which is insane. If you've seen the state of their stadium, their facilities, their training ground, it is a miracle that they got that far. The case against him is pretty easy. He's 28 years old, never played outside Spain, didn't even make his La Liga debut until he was 24. But he's bought for a role and not a resale profit, and that's quite new at Chelsea. It makes you want to get behind him. He's more of an underdog, and who doesn't love an underdog? The other side of that flank and another new signing is Marco Palestra. The one stat that sold me was that last season, no defender in Europe's top 5 leagues had more dribbles completed than him. I've done a full video on him with Lacroix as well, and how he sort of fits into Xabi Alonso's system, so watch that if you haven't. He was third in the whole of Serie A for dribbles completed, including attackers, wingers, plus 67 touches in the opposition box, 5th in the entire league. From a defender, that is meant. And he had the highest average top speed of any player in that league. That's why Xabi Alonso wants him specifically. He can get up and down rapidly. So there's no tick for those two, no box for those two new fullbacks coming in. They're helping the new system. It wasn't quite a repair job. But that does leave the last box, and where Chelsea's season actually got costed, I guess, last season. Chelsea dropped 19 points from winning positions last season, more than any other side in the league. You add those back, and I know that that's not how football works, but Chelsea finished on 71 points. We were 10th on 52. Manchester United finished on 71 points, who finished 3rd place. Now, it's not realistic to add them all back, but even half, that's literally what gets you the difference from 10th to Champions League football. And the pattern was quite similar. Like, we would score, go ahead, and then stop being a team. We wouldn't quite know what to do. The game would just flip, the momentum would flip to the opposition. For example, Burnley, we were 1-0 up in 4 minutes, conceded in the 93rd from a corner with 10 men and shocking marking. Then there was 2-0 up at home to Leeds in February, threw that one away too. Red cards didn't help, they always were a factor pretty much, and it was the same under Maresca and Rosinho. So it's not quite tactics, it's just a group of players that can't see a game out. And so if stuff was going our way, there was no leader to help them calm down, continue. And then when stuff didn't go our way, it was the most petulant group of footballers I think I've ever seen. Just frustration, like in its liquid form on the pitch. 7 red cards, 4 managers, 19 points thrown away. You can't really coach that out of a squad. You have to go and buy it, and that's what Xabi Alonso has requested for players that are actually just going to help this problem. So here's the one I promised right at the start. Danny Welbeck fixes nothing tactical. We really didn't need a striker, but that is the entire point. I don't think it's an accident. He's not there to fix the football. He's there because the model changed. We signed literally purely 18 to 23-year-olds basically on enormous 8-year and beyond. And it's not only Welbeck. When you look at the ages across this window, Welbeck 35, Henderson 36, Pep Chavarría 20, Max Lacroix 26 too. It's a common theme this transfer window. They're players that Chelsea wouldn't have gone anywhere near even just a year ago. Because Jordan Henderson is the other half of this, on a free at 36 years old. I still love an Adam Wharton, maybe an Alex Scott, but Henderson is a passer, a strong tackler, an engine, but mostly a leader. For their sakes, for their career-wise, it makes sense too. I think they seem like players that could potentially be managers, coaches in the future, and being able to almost have a apprenticeship coach role as a player, manager, assistant, you know what I mean, at Chelsea. Under Xabi Alonso, who's a coach up and coming as well. Makes sense for them, makes sense for Chelsea. But they do also help on the pitch too. Here's a number that should end the argument on Henderson won't play any part of football. Henderson's Brentford finished 9th on 53 points last season. Chelsea finished 10th on 52. He made 34 appearances, assisted against Chelsea and Man United last season. 17 starts in 23 Premier League games, 1 goal, 3 assists. He was Brentford's Player of the Month in September. And Welbeck can still play, his goal return says so. 13 Premier League goals last season, joint 9th in the entire division at 35. That's only 2 fewer than our top scorer, João Pedro. Brighton fans are actually a bit pissed off that Welbeck was let go pretty much. No one was ever even thinking about linking a striker to join Chelsea, let alone Danny Welbeck. But once the news broke and everyone realised how smart it was, no one was against it really. These are squad signings and it does feel a bit synthetic to pluck 2 English experienced, Premier League experienced, quality players on their day still and just drop them into a project that Chelsea still is. But it's at the manager's request. It's not a recruitment department's request. They have squad signings, and this lot don't sign squad signings. They sign assets and hope that their dividends multiply and the trajectory of their value just increases at exponential rates. But no, Welbeck and Henderson, here for 1 or 2 years max, should help in the short term. And we know that football fans prefer the short term than the long term. If you said you win a Premier League and then you get relegated the next season, a lot of match-going fans, I think, would struggle to answer that, like pick that over finish 10th in the next 5 years and then have 5 years of dominance. That's an interesting question actually. Let me know what you think about that. But that's all boxes ticked. But most importantly, it tells you something much bigger than who's actually running this club. Alonso didn't just get 6 players. He got Chelsea to break its own model in order to sign them. So yeah, that's a list. Chelsea couldn't fix up for a whole season. There was no cover, so we signed Lacroix, helped in the centre-back quality role. We had numbers of centre-backs, but just weren't good enough for the Premier League. All the transfers we've signed are versatile too, so that helps. We had nothing against a low block. Morgan Rogers should help that a lot, but then mostly we had no leaders at all. And now we've signed a 36-year-old, a 35-year-old, 28-year-old, 26-year-old, just players that are going to help and bring the squad together. I've been watching the Jose Mourinho documentaries last couple nights, and blood bonds that he was able to create and get almost like a cult to where the players would die for the manager. It's just extreme competition. It's beautiful, and you compare that to what Liam Rosenior was doing last season, it's insane. It's an insane difference. So tell me which signing you think will have the biggest impact, not just the British transfer record, perhaps the 36-year-old on a free. Let me know. If you enjoyed this video, I think you enjoyed this one too. So click here, I'll see you there. Thanks for watching, goodbye.